What's going on, guys? Terrence here from Retro DNA, and I want to take a minute out to talk to you guys about the Retroid Pocket Flip. If you are not familiar with Retroid products, the Go Retroid company, they design Android-based handhelds that allow you to emulate games up to PS2 and even a handful of GameCube games. This is a really great way to emulate on the go and to take all of your favorite games with you kind of in one location. Now, I know a lot of people who are true to retro gaming are against emulation, but the reality is it's a necessary function in our world if you want to be able to access some titles and just don't have an endless budget, which most of us don't. Go Retroid has made perhaps bar none the best overall product when it comes to gaming handheld emulation. And so what they have here is a brand new product coming out called the Retroid Pocket Flip. As you can see, this is a clamshell design. It's designed in so many ways to look and act and operate very similarly to the Nintendo DS Lite. In fact, they do a lot of comparing the two items here in terms of size, the overall measurements. You can see that it really is just about the same size as the DS Lite, only slightly bigger. They also compare it to a new 3DS XL, which you can see it is smaller in terms of the overall form factor. But this is a pretty sleek looking handheld. It has a very large screen for its size, excellent controls, and really a lot to be desired here. This thing is going to be released in a number of sleek color variants, including black, indigo, 16-bit US, watermelon, and the limited edition Sport Red, which there's only going to be 1,500 of them released, each special edition and numbered on the console. A pretty cool item to own. It starts at $149, goes only up to $164, so a pretty decent price range. And if you pre-order, it's $10 off for the first 3 days as they advertise on their price right now. So overall, this thing has a pretty reasonable price. As I mentioned, pre-orders start 21 March at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Now, I'm going to tell you straight up, if you like clamshells, if you like that design, which I think is pretty nice because obviously it protects your display, which I think is key in terms of portability, pocketability, this is going to be an ideal console to carry along with you without much concern for it getting damaged. Pre-ordering does come with its risks, of course, because Go Retroid is known for having a habit of releasing new color variants and upgraded versions of their consoles just like 5 or 6 weeks later. In fact, they did this with their last console, the Retroid Pocket 3. They came out with a Retroid Pocket 3 Plus, which was more powerful and only $20 more just 6 weeks after its initial release, which of course frustrated a lot of people. Now, the great thing is, Go Retroid did assure us via Twitter that this was never going to happen. Believe it if you want to believe it, but there's always some risk involved. Taking a look over the specs here, you can see it has a Hall effect slider with clickable L3 and R3. Active cooling, which is a really nice feature. It has analog triggers, which some may love or not, but I think it's a good move here. Programmable M1 and M2 buttons, double injection molder ABXY buttons. Processor is a Unisoc Tiger T618. Has a great CPU at 2.0 gigahertz. The 2A75 has the Mali G52 MC2 running at 850 megahertz. 4 gigabytes of RAM, as I mentioned, 128 gigabytes of storage to start, but of course, this thing has the micro SD port, which will help you expand on that. As I mentioned, it has a very impressive screen size at 4.7 inches, and this thing is a touchscreen. It does operate at 60 frames per second, OS Android 11, with a 5,000 milliamp per hour battery. Now, this is an upgrade from the Retroid Pocket 3, which just had 4,500, so you can expect a little bit better battery life with this thing. But overall, it's essentially the same operating system, the same specs as the Retroid Pocket 3. So if you're not a fan of the clamshell design, then you may want to actually stick with the Retroid Pocket 3, but I do think you'll like this. It really just comes down to whether or not you were a fan of the DS Lite, because I think it's truly going to be a comparable console in terms of the size. Now, some people think, oh, it should have had a second screen, so it could have been used to emulate DS games. Look, the reality is, if you're looking for that, stick to your DS or your 3DS. That's not what this is for, but this is going to be a great console, I think, for emulating all of your games. As I mentioned before, up to PS2 and including a handful of GameCube games, it will run them quite well. Go Retroid recently posted a video flexing how well it plays the game God of War 2 on the PS2 system, and it looks like it's running smooth as butter. So all in all, this really just comes down to whether or not you like clamshell design. there really isn't much competition out there. I mean, the only other thing on the market is the Palkitty X18S, which I do not recommend in any way, shape, or form. It's just simply an inferior device, a lot clunkier, poor build design, really not that portable. In short, this is the Retroid Pocket 3 in a clamshell form factor. Let me know what you think. Is this something you guys are interested in? Do you plan on pre-ordering it? Do you think you'll buy it? And what type of games do you want to see emulated on this console? As always, guys, thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and look out for more content.